Have you ever laid in bed at night? The light's already off. Your body exhausted, but your mind still running like a crowded highway. Have you ever tried to meditate? To pray? To chant? Only to discover that the moment you close your eyes, your thoughts become even louder. As if a whole city has moved into your head and refuses to be quiet. Welcome back, my friend. I am glad you are here, because today we are going to sit together and talk about something that troubles almost everyone, but that very few people really understand: a mind that never stops. Not just the normal thinking needed to live and work, but that restless, chattering, anxious, always jumping mind that will not stay still for even a moment. We will walk slowly through a very old story from Bodhidharma, the legendary founder of Zen in China. In that story, he uses just one short line to show a desperate disciple how to let his mind rest. That line, when you really understand it, is like a gentle but powerful hand turning you back toward your original clarity. We will not rush. We will move as if we are sitting in a quiet hall listening to a teacher tell a story. Then, applying it to our messy modern life. Let us begin with you. Imagine a normal day. You wake up, and before you even sit up in bed, your hand reaches for your phone. Notifications, messages, news, endless updates. Your eyes have barely opened, but your mind is already flooded with other people's lives, fears, opinion, and crises. You scroll for a few minutes, maybe half an hour. By the time you stand up, your body has not even taken 10 conscious breaths, but your heart has already reacted to 10 different bits of information. Then comes the rest of the day. Work demands, family responsibilities, background music, traffic noise, internal worries. Someone says something that irritates you, and the mind replays it again and again. You see someone else's success and feel a quiet stab of envy. You remember an old mistake and feel a sharp sting of shame. You imagine possible futures, some hopeful, some terrifying. By the time night comes, your body is tired, but your mind is like a spinning top that has not been put down all day. When you finally lie down, you say to yourself, "I want to rest." But the mind does not obey. It starts listing tasks, rehearsing arguments, inventing stories about what other people think of you. You roll from side to side. At some point, you sigh and think, "Why can I not just stop thinking for a moment? Why is my heart always restless?" Maybe you have tried many methods. You listen to soothing music. You download meditation apps. You watch motivational videos. For a while, they help. But often, as soon as you put them away, the same old restlessness returns. You might even have said to yourself, half joking and half serious, "If Bodhidharma or some great master were here, I would ask him straight. My mind is a mess. What do I do?" The beautiful thing is, someone already asked that question a long time ago, and Bodhidharma already answered. The scene is very simple, but inside it is a complete teaching. In the old story, there was a monk named Unisex. He had already studied other teachings, but his heart was not at peace. He heard about Bodhidharma, who had come from far away to teach the deepest practice of awakening, and he felt a burning desire to meet him. He went to Bodhidharma's place and asked to be accepted as a disciple. There are different versions of the story, some dramatic, describing snow and sacrifice. But at the core of the encounter, there is one unforgettable exchange. Unisex said to Bodhidharma, "My mind is not at peace. Please, teacher, calm my mind." Can you feel that? It is not just a monk's problem. It is your problem. My problem. Everyone's problem. My mind is not at peace. Please, someone, something, calm it. That sentence could be whispered in any language, in any city tonight. Now, what would you say if you were the teacher? Most of us, if we were pretending to be wise, might give a list of techniques. Do this breathing exercise. Repeat this phrase. Visualize this image. Think of happy things. But Bodhidharma did something completely different. He said to Huai, "Bring me your mind, and I will calm it." This is where the story becomes alive. Imagine someone said that to you. You complain, "My mind is out of control." And instead of giving you a method, the teacher says gently, "All right, bring this mind to me. Show it to me. Put it here, in front of me. Then I will calm it." What happens inside you when you hear that? At first, maybe confusion. You might think, "What do you mean? Bring my mind. It is inside me. I cannot take it out like an object." Then, if you really take the question seriously, something unexpected happens. You start to look. Where is this mind that is not at peace? Is it in my head? In my chest? Is it in a particular thought? A particular emotion? If I try to grab it, what exactly am I grabbing? Huai did not answer immediately. He did what very few of us ever do. He went inward to search. He turned his attention away from the objects of his mind and toward the mind itself. He used his awareness to ask, "Where is this restless mind?" He looked and looked. Thoughts came and went. Feelings rose and fell. Images appeared and disappeared. But each time he tried to pin down something as "this is my mind," it changed, moved, melted away. Finally, he came back to Bodhidharma and said, "I have searched for my mind, and I cannot find it." Bodhidharma replied, "Then I have already calmed your mind." When you first hear this, it may sound like a trick, a strange and joke. But it is not a joke. It is a precise medicine. To understand it, we have to step away from our usual ideas about what the mind is. Most of the time, when we say "my mind," what we really mean is a flow of thoughts, feelings, memories, and sensations. We identify with that flow. If the thoughts are pleasant, we say, "I am happy." If the thoughts are painful, we say, "I am miserable." If the thoughts are chaotic, we say, "My mind is a mess." We do not usually question this. We assume the mind is the content. Bodhidharma invites us to see that the mind is not the content, but the knowing of the content. It is the space in which thoughts arise and disappear, not the thoughts themselves. When he says, "Bring me your mind," he is not expecting Huai to physically present something. He is pushing him to recognize that the restless mind he is complaining about is not a solid, independent thing. It is simply a series of appearances in awareness. The moment Huai looks for his mind and cannot find it, something shifts. He experiences, if only briefly, the gap between awareness and the objects of awareness. He sees that there is nothing solid to grab, nothing solid to calm. The problem was not that the mind was a permanent storm. The problem was that he was clinging to each passing cloud, as if it were the whole sky. When Bodhidharma says, "Then, I have already calmed your mind," he is pointing to this realization: the mind, in its deepest nature, is already calm, like an ocean below the surface waves. The frantic activity we complain about is only the surface. When you stop taking the waves as your true self, the ocean is seen. Now you might say, "This sounds beautiful and philosophical, but my mind still races. How does this help me when I am lying awake at 3 in the morning?" The key is not to turn this story into another piece of information, but to use it as a practice. Next time your mind feels out of control, instead of immediately trying to suppress it, distract it, or drown it in noise, try this. Sit or lie down and, for a moment, become Bodhidharma to yourself. Say inwardly, "All right, restless mind. You say you are here. You say you are unbearable. Come out. Show yourself. Where exactly are you?" Then gently start looking. You notice a thought, "I am such a failure." You ask, "Is this thought my whole mind?" Before you even finish the question, the thought has already changed into another. "Tomorrow will be terrible." Then comes a third, "Why can I not stop thinking?" They just keep coming. If you cling to them, they tie into a chain. If you step back and observe, you see something important. None of them stays. You might notice a feeling in your chest, tightened heavy. You ask, is this feeling my mind? The feeling pulses, spreads, contracts. You watch as if watching a wave. It is intense, but it also changes. You notice images, like scenes from a movie. People, places, arguments, fantasies. They appear and fade. If you keep looking with curiosity instead of panic, at some point a quiet realization may arise. Everything I am calling my restless mind is actually a stream of changing experiences. There is no single, solid thing to grab. The more I try to grab it, the more entangled I become. In that moment, even if the thoughts have not stopped, a little space opens. You begin to sense awareness itself, not as a special object, but as the simple fact that all these thoughts, feelings, and sensations are being known. That knowing, that awareness, does not jump around the way the thoughts do. It is like a clear mirror in which different reflections appear. The discovery is not I have found a new object to hold on to. It is I see that I was mistaken about what my mind is. This is the first taste of what Bodhidharma pointed to. Let us bring this back to daily life with the story of a completely modern person. There was a young woman named Sarah. She worked in a busy office, lived in a noisy city, and prided herself on being efficient. But in the last few years, anxiety had crept into her life like a thief. At first it showed up as occasional worry. Then it became more frequent. Eventually, it turned into full-blown panic attacks. She tried many things: exercise, therapy, self-help books. Some helped, some did not. But the underlying restlessness remained. One day, the friend shared with her the story of Bodhidharma and Unisex. She listened politely, but inside, she thought, cute story, but it will not touch my level of anxiety. Her friend smiled and said, I thought the same, but the next time you feel your mind spinning, just try the question. Do not expect magic. Just look. A few nights later, she woke up at 2 in the morning with her heart racing. Thoughts were rushing. What if I lose my job? What if my parents get sick? What if climate change destroys everything? What if I never find love? Her first impulse was to grab her phone, distract herself. Then she remembered the story. Almost out of frustration, she whispered into the darkness, Fire. Where is this mind that is supposedly going crazy? Let me see it. She closed her eyes and, instead of following each thought, she watched them. It was messy. Thoughts did not politely line up for examination. They crashed into each other. But she kept asking, is this one thought my mind? Is this feeling of tightness my mind? Is this image my mind? Each time she focused on one, it changed. After a few minutes, something softened. The thoughts were still there, but they seemed less like a solid wall and more like a noisy crowd moving through a station. She realized, if I stand in the middle of the crowd trying to control each person, I will be crushed. But if I stand on the balcony watching, I see that they come and go. Her anxiety did not vanish forever that night, but she experienced, for the first time, that there was a part of her not swallowed by the storm. That part, the simple knowing, felt strangely still. In the following weeks, whenever anxiety rose, she practiced looking for the mind. Sometimes it helped a lot, sometimes only a little. But overall, the grip of her thoughts lessened. She later said, the story did not cure me like a pill. It shifted the way I relate to my own mind. I was always wrestling with thoughts, imagining that if I squeezed them hard enough, they would stop. Now, more often, I let them pass. I know there is nothing I can bring out and put on the table as my mind. There is just this space in which the show happens. What she described is exactly the spirit of Bodhidharma's teaching brought into modern life. Now, let us tie this to deeper themes of awakening, cause and effect, and practice. When your mind is restless, it is usually not random. It is the result of countless past habits, your tendencies to worry, to compare, to judge, to cling to certain identities. Those habits were formed by repeated thoughts and actions over years, even lifetimes. So when you sit down and try to be quiet for the first time, of course the mind will not immediately obey. It is like a child who has been allowed to run wild for years. When you finally say, "Sit down," the child will not sit down peacefully on the first day. Many people make a mistake here. They think spiritual practice means forcing the mind to be blank by sheer willpower. They push and get frustrated. This is like pulling hard on a knot, making it even tighter. Bodhidharma's method is different. It is not about force. It is about understanding. Instead of fighting the restless mind as an enemy, you turn toward it with curiosity and insight. You ask, what is this thing that I am so afraid of? Where is it? Can I really find it? When you see that what you call my unbearable mind is actually a play of causes and conditions, rising and falling in awareness, your relationship with it changes. You stop believing every thought is truth. You stop building a solid self out of changing mental events. This is the beginning of wisdom. At the same time, this wisdom must be paired with compassion. When you look for your mind and see that it is not solid, there is a danger of using that insight to dismiss your feelings out. It is all empty. Nothing matters. That is not real understanding. That is spiritual bypassing. True insight into the insubstantial nature of thoughts makes you gentler, not colder. You realize that all beings are caught in similar storms of mental habits. You realize that your own restless mind has been trying to protect you in clumsy ways, replaying scenarios to keep you safe, even though it often makes you suffer. So when restlessness arises, you can combine Bodhidharma's question with a tone of kindness. You might say inwardly, I see you. Anxious thoughts, I see you. Restless heart, you are not solid, but you are also not evil. You are the result of many causes. I will not fight you blindly. I will also not obey you blindly. I will just sit here and watch you appear and disappear. This combination of clear seeing and gentle attitude is what allows the mind to gradually settle. Let us bring this into a very simple, practical sequence you can try. Imagine you sit down for 10 minutes. First, you feel your body, the weight of your legs, the contact of your hands, the movement of the breath. You do not need to breathe in any special way. Just notice a few breaths. Then, you invite the Bodhidharma question, where is my mind? You wait. Thoughts will rush in. Instead of following them, you label them lightly, thinking, remembering, planning. Each time you label, you are already a bit less identified. You are the one noticing, not the thought itself. If a strong emotion arises, like fear or sadness, you notice where it appears in the body. You might say, tightness in chest, heaviness in stomach. Again, you are looking, not swallowing. After a while, you may notice that the content keeps changing. But the knowing that notices does not change in the same way. It is just there. If you get lost in a chain of thought for a minute and then suddenly realize it, do not scold yourself. Just gently come back to the question, what exactly is this mind I was so lost in? Even if you feel that nothing special happened. The very act of turning your attention like this is planting seeds. Over days and months, these seeds grow into a more stable familiarity with awareness itself. This is not about becoming detached from life. It is about becoming less enslaved by the constant chatter so that you can respond to life more wisely. For example, imagine you are in a conflict at work. Someone criticizes you unfairly. Your mind immediately explodes, how dare they? I will show them. I will destroy them. If you have practiced even a little of this way of looking, there might be a tiny space before you act. In that space, you see the angry storyline as just that, a storyline. You realize, this is my mind creating a war scene. I do not have to act it out fully. You may still respond firmly to unfairness, but you are less likely to say or do things that you will regret for years. In this way, seeing the mind's insubstantial nature does not make you passive. It makes you less reactive, more grounded in wisdom. There is another important aspect of this teaching. It connects closely to the idea of original nature. Many spiritual traditions speak of an original purity, an original clarity of the mind that is always present, obscured but not destroyed by confusion. Bodhidharma's teaching is a direct gateway to this. When he says, "Bring me your mind, and who I cannot find it, what remains?" Not a blank nothing, but a simple, vivid awareness. That awareness is not owned by an ego. It just is, resting, even for a moment. In that awareness is profoundly restful because you are no longer struggling to arrange your thoughts and feelings into perfection. You are letting them rise and fall in a bigger space. From the point of view of cause and effect, each time you rest in this way, you are weakening the habit of identifying with every thought. You are strengthening the habit of recognizing awareness. Over time, that changes your destiny. A mind that believes every fearful thought will make fearful choices and live a fearful life. A mind that begins to see thoughts as passing clouds will act with more freedom and courage. Let me tell you one more story to illustrate this. There was a man named Leo who had always been driven by worry. His whole life was organized around avoiding possible disasters. He bought insurance for everything, over-prepared for every meeting, tried to control every aspect of his family's life. On the surface, he looked responsible, but inside, he was constantly tense. One day, during a retreat, he heard the Bodhidharma story and learned a simple practice when fear arises. Instead of immediately acting on it, look directly at the fear thought and ask, "Is this solid? Where is it? Who is the I that is supposedly in danger here?" The next time he faced a situation that triggered his usual panic, he tried it. A colleague made a mistake that might affect a project. His mind started shouting, "This will ruin everything. You must control this right now." He paused, took one breath, and silently asked, "Where is this mind that is screaming?" He felt the rush of adrenaline, saw the images of disaster. He watched them for a few seconds. He realized that, in that exact moment, nothing catastrophic was actually happening. The catastrophe was in his thoughts, not in reality. This did not mean the situation required no action. But instead of acting from blind panic, he chose to respond from a calmer place. He talked to the colleague, assessed the real risk, made decisions with a clearer head. Later, he noticed something: the old habit of fear had been weakened, just a little. This is how such teachings seep into life, not with fireworks, but with thousands of small, wiser moves. As we come toward the end of this long sharing, I want to turn again to you, sitting wherever you are right now. You might be reading this with a restless mind even now. Thoughts about other tasks, worries about the future, maybe even skepticism about all of this. Can you, just for a few breaths, try what Bodhidharma asked? Close your eyes for a moment. If you can, ask quietly, "Where is my mind?" Notice the first thing that appears. Maybe it is a thought. This is silly. Notice that thought and ask, "Is this my mind?" Feel the small gap between the thought and the one that notices it. You do not have to turn this into a big practice session. Just taste that gap. It is there. You did not create it. You are simply noticing it. That gap, that simple knowing, is like the doorway back home. Whenever your mind feels like it is spinning out of control, you can remember Bodhidharma's gentle challenge. Instead of shouting at the storm, you look for the one who is supposedly being blown away, and you begin to find that there is no solid object, only passing winds. This does not instantly cure deep trauma, nor does it replace other forms of help you might need, like therapy, medicine, or supportive relationships. But it offers a powerful inner insight into the true nature of your mind, paired with compassion for your human heart, is one of the greatest medicines there is. If this teaching resonates with you, I invite you to share in the comments your own experience of a restless mind. Have you ever tried to look directly at your thoughts instead of fighting them or drowning in them? What happened? Did you notice even a small shift in how you felt? Your experience, whether it is of success or struggle, is valuable. Someone else reading it might realize they are not alone in this battle with their restless mind. They might find the courage to try a new way of relating to their thoughts. If you would like to keep exploring together themes like awakening, wisdom, cause and effect, compassion, practice, and the very real challenges of living with a human mind in a noisy world, you are warmly invited to subscribe to this channel, to like this video in your heart, and to share it with a friend who says, "I just wish my mind would stop for a second." Thank you for staying all the way to the end. The simple fact that you are still here tells me that beneath your restless thoughts, there is a part of you that longs for deeper peace and is willing to listen for it. May you remember, when your mind is racing, that you can always pause and ask, where is this mind? May that question open a small space of clarity in the middle of any storm, and may that space grow, little by little, until you discover that the calm you have been searching for outside has been quietly waiting inside you all along.
There are moments when you see something, and your heart simply whispers, "This one is meant for me." Bracelet carries more than beads. It carries intention, protection, and quiet strength. Something to guide your thoughts and keep your spirit steady. If you felt that gentle pull toward any of the bracelets shown, the purchase link is waiting in the description, and the full collection is displayed on our channel store. Follow your intuition. It rarely leads you wrong.